We're live. Hello, Instagram. I wanted to just come in for a little bit and see what everybody is up to. How is your Sunday going? And we're going to talk a little bit about what could it be? Self-publishing. Pretty obvious at this point what we're going to be talking about over here. But I just announced yesterday that I am working on a live workshop coming up where I can talk to you fine, beautiful people and teach you a little bit about what I know for self-publishing if you're interested. It's going to be really exciting. I'm so happy to be doing this because I have my nice little presentation set up, notes, everything. I feel so professional and we're gonna have a lot of fun at the same time. So just like a little teaser, I wanted to come in today, and this will be saved for those of you who miss it and come in later. It'll be saved onto my IGTV, and in a couple weeks will be the full-on one, but this is going to be just like a little sample. I'm going to talk about some of the topics I'm going to cover. I'm going to talk about what is self-publishing and how it also is really good for other mediums out there, because that's something I learned today, is that when people hear self-publishing, they don't even entirely know what it is. So that's the main thing I want to share with the world out there. If you don't know what it is, you gotta know somehow. So let's just jump right into it. And I wish I could have some graphics on here, but that's going to be in the full workshop. So this is just a taste. And let's get started. So what is self-publishing? Self-publishing is essentially putting out a book under either your own name or under a business that you start that is your publishing house. So you're basically starting your own business, you're starting your own publishing house, and you're publishing your own book under that name. And that can be not just a novel, that can be a how-to, that can be a nonfiction, that can be a memoir, that can also be a photo book, an art book, a poetry book, a recipe book, a cookbook, anything that you can think of that might go into a book form. This is kind of like a general how-to for all of that. A magazine is another really great option that you can do, and there's so many ways that you can take it. So a little bit about what it is. I think the best part of it is that it's starting your own business. I don't think that it's what some people would consider, like a plan B for being traditionally published. I don't think that it's like a bad word, self-publishing. I think that it's got so much potential and you can do it really professionally. It's not just putting out, a little ebook. It's not just saying you have something out there but never finishing it. And I think it can also go hand in hand. A great example, someone I followed for a super long time, Gala Darling. She's a big inspiration of mine. She's a writer, a blogger, and more on that nonfiction side. Her first book that she put out, Radical Self-Love, she self-published it, first of all. And then after a really successful self-publishing, it was picked up by Hay House. So they're also, I want to clear that up, it's not something that you have to do separately. Self-publishing and traditional publishing can also go hand in hand. There's also been self-published authors that ended up getting a TV or a movie deal. So you own the rights to your intellectual property, and you can sell those rights to film production companies the same way that your publisher would sell those. So it doesn't mean like you're just, I feel like some people have this idea of self-publishing as lesser than, and I think that's my number one thing that I want to kind of like dispel for people, is that it's not lesser than, it's actually more, it's more work on your end, and it can come out with more benefits the same way. You're putting your whole heart and soul into your own business, and the returns on that are going to be 1,000-fold compared to if you just sell it off to the first publisher that wants to take your book. So now that we have the basics of what self-publishing is, how do you go about doing it? You've got a million options. You can go just the basic sort of entry level, putting out ebooks and being on different apps. There's Wattpad, there's a few others out there. You know, you can just put your stories out there. I've seen Patreon becoming very popular for writers of short stories, or if you're putting out per chapter. So if you do it this like sort of alternative digital way, there's a lot of options. You can put out your audiobook on YouTube for free, you know, get people on social media reading it in small chapters in your Instagram. I see a lot of poetry pages out there. So that's like if you want to keep it all digital. Now you can take it and you can print it off, you can put it on Amazon, have it out there in the world in lots of different ways. Or, you know, if you get to like the highest level, ideally it would be starting your own publishing house, and you can take that and publish other authors under that. You can start coaching and mentoring other authors. So I really love it also because it's not just you put a book out and that's the end of the story. No, your book is really just the foundation of an entire huge business on top of that. It's not just you know, you're just putting out books. That's not the only thing. I mean, if that's what you want to do, obviously that's what you can do. But I think it's really amazing how much possibility lies in that, actually more in the surrounding stuff than the book itself. It's really, really awesome. So some of the differences, I would say my top 3 reasons why I would choose self-publishing over traditional publishing to start out with is that there's no time besides however long it takes you to put it out. But if you're going through only traditional, you're going to have to wait to get an agent, and you're going to have to wait. After that, it can take 1 to 2 years for that agent to actually get you published and for the publisher to actually publish your book. So there's this huge wait time associated with traditional publishing. You end up losing a lot of the creative control that you have over your story. Like, they're going to do the editing, they're going to design the cover, they're going to, who knows what they're going to take out. They can tell you whether or not you get to write a sequel. They can tell you whether or not you get to write your whole series. So when you're doing the self-publishing, all of that is in your control still. There's no asking other people. I mean, ideally you should listen to readers or beta readers or get, you know, your editors and stuff like that. You should be collaborating with other people and listening to them, but at the end of the day, it's your business and it's your choice at the end, which I think, at least for me, I'm just a bit of a control freak, so I like that it allows me to have everything my way, and if something doesn't go right or whatever, it's on me. Next, I think, or the first step to really getting this done is to get it done. And that might sound a little redundant, but I get a lot of people coming to me for self-publishing who they haven't even written anything. Really, that's what it gets down to. And they say, Lily, where do I start? Where do I begin my writing journey? And it really comes down to making it an important part of your life and part of your everyday life. It shouldn't just be, you know, once a week. It can't be here and there. It can't be whenever you find the time. As with anything, if you're starting your own business and you're really taking this as far as it can, you need to make it a non-negotiable aspect of your everyday life. So whether it's you write first thing in the morning or last thing before bed or in the middle of the day, whatever, you have to carve out that time to really get it done. Because I would say the first book that we put out, from when it was about halfway finished, not even all the way finished, to published was almost a year from, I would say, until like the final publishing. So it's going to take time, no matter how fast you're writing. So the number one key to getting it done, and getting it done in a timely manner also, so you don't want to take 10 years to put out one book, because that's the other thing. If you're going to be writing, being a prolific writer is actually going to be even better for you in the long run. If you can put out more, you're going to want to put out more. People love their series, people love trilogies. When somebody falls in love with a character, they want to read more, Or if you're doing standalone books, people are just going to love your style and they're going to want to read more from you. So if you're making it part of your everyday life, you can continue on that journey of like book 1, book 2, book 3, and it's a lot easier to keep that going rather than getting burnt out or getting frustrated from one book taking, way too long to put out. Nobody wants to be, on year 5 and your book is still sitting in its manuscript form. I can't imagine how frustrating that would be. So I have one of my quotes here from my, where is it? Where'd you go? One of my favorite quotes here, William Faulkner. I only write when inspiration strikes. Fortunately, it strikes at 9 o'clock every morning. So that's really how it has to be. I know writing is a creative thing, but you can't just wait around for creativity or inspiration to strike. You have to go and find the inspiration, and sometimes that's just sitting down and making yourself do it and staring at the blank screen. So very, very important step there is just making it a part of your everyday life and really committing yourself to being a writer. If this is something you want to do, stop saying, oh, I'm thinking about it, I'm aspiring. Tell yourself, tell other people, I'm a writer. I'm writing a book right now and it's coming out on this day. Don't apologize about it anymore. You guys gotta stop that. I gotta stop that. Everybody does. So the next part that's I think really important that I'm gonna cover in my workshop is all about the community aspect and how to build a really amazing community of readers and other writers, beta readers, your trusted little inner circle. That is going to be integral. And like I said, I'm not going to get into the whole thing. This is just like a little teaser of what I'm going to be covering. But at least this is kind of what I'm trying, because social media has come to this very strange place in the world where there's some accounts that are just so insanely huge. You've got 2 million people, following Kim Kardashian, and your page with with a couple hundred followers feels like, impossible. It feels impossible, like you're ever going to get enough people. But what I want to impress upon you guys is that more than ever, because of just the sheer vastness of the internet, you don't need to worry about the numbers anymore. You guys need to stop focusing on your follower count. Stop focusing on just how many likes and comments you get. I mean, those things are important, but what you really want to focus on is the quality of that engagement, the quality of those people that are following you and engaging with you and working with you on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. Because those people that you see popping up in your inbox and in your comments and those frequent, responders, those are going to become your inner trusted circle of readers that will follow you your whole life. So you're going to want to focus on real, true engagement. I think focusing on the numbers and that follow, unfollow kind of stuff, or, paying for bots or buying followers, don't do it. It might look good on social media, but they're not going to read your stuff. And for writers, I think it's a little bit different. You guys can get away with having a small following on social media. You don't need 100,000 followers on social media to be a good writer. Where does that come into writing? That doesn't. So focus on the writing. Focus on the writing and focus on really, truly, genuinely engaging with people that you like, that you're interested in, that you want to talk to, and really work on the communication. We're almost taking it back. I like to think of it as taking it back to the basics of social media. When you're 12 years old, at least in my experience, I came into the world of the internet sort of at the cusp of my, adulthood, my adolescence. I was on LiveJournal, MySpace, all that kind of stuff. But remember back to that original, what you loved about social media, the reason you got on it in the first place. It wasn't like this rat race to get the most amount of followers. It was to follow really cool people that you love and that inspired you. So think about social media in a new way, because I think especially writers can sometimes also fall into that trap of, I'm way too cool for social media. Social media is vapid. It's full of, just the worst of humanity, blah, blah, blah. The really pessimistic mindset about social media. But we want to step away from that and realize that it's a tool that we can use to connect with other humans. That's really what it is at the end of the day, and we want to connect with awesome people that love to read our work. So it's not about the numbers, it's about connection. So get in the DMs and get in the comments. Leave long comments on people's stuff. You guys need to engage more. Stop with this fire emoji, crying emoji. Leave real comments on people's stuff. And it's hard. I try and do it like 30 minutes a day, a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the evening. And it can be tiresome sometimes to, try and, I have to make a certain amount of comments. But just have fun with it. When you're having fun with it, it kind of erases all of that negativity that you're going to be experiencing, because social media can be really frustrating. It definitely is, and it can feel like you're wasting time when you should be writing, and you're wasting time scrolling through Instagram. That's why you want to be really purposeful, follow accounts that matter, and really truly communicate with people. That's the number one thing that's going to grow like a dedicated community. You don't want a huge community, or maybe you do, but more importantly, you want a dedicated community and to not lose your voice. Okay, back to normal. So with your social media, you're going to want to direct them to a website, super important, and a newsletter, super important. Can't get into all of it today, but again, the post on my page talks about it. I have a workshop coming up I'm super excited for, so I'm just trying to introduce it a little bit to you guys, what I can show you in this class, and let me know also what you want to learn leading up to it, and I can include it. So this will help you, it'll help me, and it'll help the whole self-publishing community get better and come together a little bit more. So as far as you got the community, you're writing every day. Sorry, my phone keeps vibrating. So you're writing every day and you have your community. That's a great start. If that's where you want to stick to and just have fun writing, like just stick to that for as long as you need to. But once you're ready, the making of the actual book this is where it gets kind of complicated, but also super easy, because you could just hire somebody. You could just hire it out, get a cover designed, get your interior formatted, just throw money at the problem, solve it, super easy. Or you can try and do it yourself, which I would say is fun and rewarding if you're that kind of person that likes to tinker with that kind of stuff. But the great thing is that I would say most of the websites out there where you're going to be going through, whether it's Amazon or a printing company, like getting them wholesale printed and then shipped to you, selling them individually, or putting them up on Amazon, they all have lots of resources on there. If you go to kdp.amazon.com, it's not organized that well on Amazon, but it's all there. So you get templates, you get formatting guidelines, you get everything. There's usually somebody on the other end, technical support. So it's not impossible, I will say, to format and create your own book for print. I did it. I'm not a genius. I learned how to do it. It was a pain though. So you can also go to Fiverr or any website like that and hire someone to format your book. Not too pricey, and of course, myself, I also do this since I figured out how to do it. Art of Alex Ortiz is saying mailing lists are more effective than social media, ? Could use some tips on mailing lists. Okay, so I am actually in the process of working on a little guide for mailing lists, but basically it's pretty easy. I like mailing lists because social media is always also going to be controlled by somebody else. I've had my Instagram deleted before, and that was such a sad day. And I feel silly for being sad about it, but at the time it was really annoying. I lost all my followers, I lost a lot of business, and if I had had a newsletter and email list to go with that, you're in control of that. You're in control of those followers. You don't have to rely on social media existing to take care of you, but you do need a website, obviously. but it's something that's just a little bit more in your hands, and that trickle down effect, you know, you have your social media, it kind of funnels into the newsletter. And again, those newsletter people are probably going to be your most dedicated readers and active community members. My favorite, kind of the easy bread and butter way to get newsletter signups is to have a free download offer in your newsletter. So what this would look like for an author or a writer or a creative person like yourself, you could put up, you know, here's a free wallpaper download when you sign up on my newsletter. Here's a free first couple chapters of my book when you sign up for the newsletter. And I probably can't get into all of it here, but basically, or at least on my website, I have Squarespace integrated with MailChimp, and then it's an automatic thing. So the MailChimp sends out the email when they sign up, and the download link is in the email. So you can automate it pretty easily, you know, in less than 1 day. And that's all for free too. It's free MailChimp signed up with Squarespace. So that when they go onto a certain page, they get the free download in their inbox. So that's kind of like the bread and butter way of doing it. You can also try giveaways, or just in general, just have it up on your website and make posts and constantly have that as your call to action, but give them some value. You know, I feel like, at least me, I have one email actually dedicated to kind of like spam newsletters that I get on, if that makes sense, for like free downloads or something like that, but that I don't really want to read their newsletter. So you want to really stand out, because there's so much of that, and it goes with anything, you know, you want to add value to their lives and have something special in your newsletter that they're going to want to read. So whether that's, you know, a little blog coming out monthly, or how-to articles, special deals and engagement, you know, there's a few different ways that you can build that up. So I definitely agree, mailing lists are super important, but they can be, I think, a little intimidating for people, because, you know, you have to also, there's a little bit of automation to set up and things like that. But it's not impossible, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money either. So if you have your newsletter set up, all of your social media and everything, you are in the process of making your book, you hired a designer, because why the hell not, you know, your book is coming out. Then it's all about the launch, which is really exciting, and that can take anywhere up to, you know, it really depends. I mean, honestly, you're promoting your book the entire time from the beginning, right? From just writing it. On social media, you should be talking about the process, talk about your characters, you know, you can kind of, like some ideas, for example, on social media for writers, you could do a deep dive into individual characters in different posts. You could talk about a scene that you deleted. I like the deleted scenes idea. That could be something you send out in your newsletter special, like, hey, you know, here's the pre-edited version, or here's a scene I took out, or here's a scene I added in. Here's my mood board, here's my inspiration. You know, there's so many different, when you take your audience behind the scenes of your writing journey, I think that's really where the content comes in, that I think is constantly promoting you just through people really, at the end of the day, they're going to fall in love with you. They want to fall in love with you as an author. It's not like the good old days of like you just go to a bookstore and you find a cool cover. I mean, there's still that in the world, but especially with all these closures, if you're focusing on your online presence, this is how you're going to bring people in, is by sharing a personal part of yourself and having them really fall in love with that and get engaged with that, and you're really selling them on the feeling. You know, that's another thing I read recently, or that's come up multiple times, is that when you're selling any product, anything in the whole world, what you're really selling is the feeling that the person gets when they have it. Whether it's like, you know, this happy, loving feeling, this inspired feeling, this joy, this journey that they go through, especially when you're reading a novel that takes you on this journey of these different characters. So getting into that personal stuff with your audience is really the best place that authors can focus their social media, or at least online efforts into. Because people want, if they like you, they will buy anything that you put out. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just about the story, it's also about you, your story, you as a human being. Why you decided to be a writer, why this topic, why these characters, how do you write? Do you write in the morning? Do you write with music? They want to see that. It's almost like this, I don't know why people are so obsessed with this stuff, but like reality TV, it's like your own little reality TV show right here in this little Instagram screen. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that kind of gave a little peek into where I can help you guys, gave you some insight into what this workshop is going to be a little bit more about. Again, I am doing a workshop. I am tentatively placing it for November 14th, but we will see. I would love if you guys would go onto my mailing list on my website, Ninth House Media, and sign up. That's kind of how I'm gauging who's going to be there and who might be interested. So again, ninthhousemedia.com. That'll put you on the sort of wait list for the workshop. So I'm going to put out tickets available, RSVP, first thing on my my website. So please make sure to sign up there. And you can get kind of a little example if you look at that, kind of how I have the newsletter structure on my website to get, some subscribers. So definitely tune in. Over the next couple weeks, I will be posting a lot more and kind of getting into this a little bit more, what you guys might be able to see from the workshop. And definitely, if you have any other questions, leave them down below or feel free to inbox me at any time. I would love to talk with you guys, see more about your projects, what you're working on, and how I might be able to help you put that into action. So thank you guys so much for stopping in. This was fun. I love this little, my Blair Witch layout here. So I hope you guys are having a very fun October. Also, next month, NaNoWriMo. I don't know who's participating in that. I'm thinking of it. I don't know if I could write that much, but a few people have been pushing me to write lately. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday, and I will see you in on the flip side next time. Bye. Thank you guys.